Oh my gosh. This week flew by. Did it feel that way to anybody else? It felt like just last Monday, it was Monday. And I don't know why it felt like it went by so fast. Maybe it was because I went and watched 2 new movies this week. And maybe it was because of all the chaos that was all over the internet. And maybe it was just simply because it was time to be Monday again. Welcome to Last Week on a Monday. I'm your host, Hot Schmoes, and let's get started.
Delicious hot schmoes.
They're called s'mores, Buzz.
Right, of course.
So this week, I went and watched 2 new movies. The first movie I went and watched was a movie that I have not seen any prior movies in this world ever. And that was Ballerina, a John Wick movie. I haven't seen any of the John Wick movies at all. Why, you may ask? Simply because I just haven't. I don't know why. I've always thought they looked intriguing. Everybody always tells me that they're fantastic.
Say that again?
But I just have never watched them. I don't really know why. But when Ballerina came out to theaters, I was like, you know what? This movie looks like it'll be a good time. And I can tell you, yes, it was. I have very much enjoyed that genre of movies. I typically watch a lot more of the comedy style action movies, like Bullet Train, Novocaine that came out earlier this year. Those types of movies are usually the ones that I end up seeing in the theater. But this one seemed a little bit more serious, and I was like, you know what? Let's go. It looks like a lot of fun. And the action in this movie is beautiful. I'm very aware of the influence that John Wick has on the action genre as a whole, and I'm very grateful for its realism and its like trying to stay as grounded as possible with things like the way that people rack their firearms, the number of bullets that are in certain firearms, things like that. They just are really grounding for the movies, and I like that. Now, that being said, John Wick does in fact have a bulletproof suit coat, which is, although not technically impossible, is very improbable and impractical, and the way that it works, definitely is not the way that a real thing like that would work in today's standards. But that being said, Ballerina was full of action. It was full of comedic moments, I will say, and it was a good time. It is rated R, so if anybody's going to go watch this movie because they're like, oh, let's take the family to go watch this movie. It's rated R, and it's rated R for very specific reasons. Like the moment you see, actually, no, I won't even spoil that. But just trust me, there's a lot of moments that make it very rated R from a violence perspective as well as a dialogue perspective. So, yeah.
Are you sure?
And the second movie that I went and watched this week did happen to be the new live-action How to Train Your Dragon movie.
Thank you for nothing, you useless reptile.
This movie has helped me solidify what I believe about live-action remakes. And that is that I don't think any more should be made at all. Now, you might ask me why, and the reason is this. This movie was great. I enjoyed watching the live-action How to Train Your Dragon. Minus some of the characters not looking like their animated counterparts, this movie is nearly, and I mean like almost 100%, a shot-for-shot remake of the original animated film. And that is like unequivocally the exact thing that I've asked for from these live action remakes. But watching a movie that did exactly the thing that I thought I wanted kind of proved to be the nail in the coffin as to why I don't think they work. Let me take a step back and remind you about the other live action remakes that Disney has been very, very gung-ho on trying to create, right? We've had Snow White, we've had Beauty and the Beast, we've had Mulan, we've had Cinderella, we've had Lilo and Stitch, and I'm sure there's a couple others that I just can't remember off the top of my head. And all of those movies take that original story and they slightly deviate from it, or drastically deviate it from it, in the case of Mulan, and they make a new movie that's trying to be an old movie, but takes away so much of the heart of the old movies that just makes it not be so good. Okay? Mulan is the perfect example, because Mulan got rid of things like Mushu, got rid of things like even the music, got rid of things like just her trying to be, like her dad, try to take her dad's place because she didn't think he was going to survive. Things like that. How to Train Your Dragon, on the other hand, takes the exact same storyline and almost all of the same scenes and nearly every piece of dialogue and just ports it into live action. There is some variation here and there. But the problem is although that movie is good and I enjoyed it, and I honestly recommend people go watch it, the problem that I have with these live action films is now that I've seen one that is so close to the original, it kind of feels disingenuous. It feels like it took this story that we all love and tried to make it better, I guess, but it doesn't feel genuine, because the original, the How to Train Your Dragons movies are so good. And I know this is like a weird nitpick and something that, a lot of people might not agree with me on, but it just feels like it's not genuine. Some of the things that happen in an animated film don't quite take the same effect when you do them in a live action film. And I won't talk specifics at this moment because I'm not trying to spoil this movie for anybody, but I'm going to try and watch it again and put together a list of things and maybe another breakdown of the movie to kind of explain my position further. But those are the movies that I watched, and I would recommend going to see both of them because they were both a good time. I enjoyed watching both Ballerina and the How to Train Your Dragon live action movie, and if you like those kinds of movies, go watch them. They were a good time. Alright, video games. This week, I'm going to be completely honest. The only video game that I have seen any content for, and this is partially me just being slightly out of the loop again, but is Dune Awakening.
Listen again!
I think that's the name of it. Is that what it's called? Let me double check this. Yeah, Dune Awakening. This game is a survival masterpiece, I guess, for people who love survival games and love the Dune franchise. And it looks like a lot of fun. I'm debating whether or not to spend the $50 to play this game or not. I'm not sure. But it currently has 132,000 people playing via Steam, and I'm sure Steam is not the biggest platform for this game. So that's the big one that came out that I think a lot of people might enjoy. If you enjoy things like Ark Survival, or if you enjoy Minecraft, or, Subnautica, it looks a lot like Subnautica in a lot of ways. It is very intriguing. And the really intriguing part of this game is it's like a PvE survival game with multiplayer aspects. So there are places in the world and at points in the world where you can interact with other players who you're not like inviting them to a server like you do with Minecraft. It's just a server and everybody's playing in it. And you can interact with them, you can fight them, you can steal things from them and things like that in certain places. And it's kind of a cool mechanic. So yeah, might be playing Dune Awakening, might not. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if I should play this game. And music. Last week I talked about Jon Bellion. And from the music that I pay attention to and the music that I listen to, there hasn't been any other major new releases. But there are two things that I'd like to talk about. And that's number one is going to be Coldplay. It was called Yellow. Coldplay has been a worldwide phenomenon of a band since the 1990s. Like 1997 is when they had their first big hit of Yellow. This band is by far my favorite band. Well, I won't say by far. They are my favorite band, followed only by, as a number two, Daft Punk. Now, Coldplay has recently been on tour, and they have been playing some shows that just look incredible. And that's something that I just want to mention, appreciate, and wish that one day I can go to one of these amazing concerts by them, because the way that they interact with their fans, the way that they interact with the stadiums that they play in, they just look like a lot of fun, and they look like they're worth experiencing. So, Coldplay, thank you for being a cornerstone of my life and for just being awesome people. The second music thing that I want to talk about is not necessarily music directly, however, it does have to do with Daft Punk. Now, this could be the internet trolling me, and this could be a reality. And I desperately hope that this is reality. And that is that I have heard rumors and seen articles about the Daft Punk Coachella Pyramid. You remember this thing? This thing is dope. Apparently, it's on the list of things waiting to be looked at and possibly approved for a Lego set. And as you can see, I do very much like Legos. A lot. The shelf right above here is full of other Legos that are also built, and the shelf right over there is full of Legos that are yet to be built. But Daft Punk as a Lego set would be one of the greatest things of all time. And it would be one of the biggest blessings to just be able to take what they have done for me in my life and for the genres of music that have been impacted by their work, and just be able to put it on display in another form of something that has impacted my life, Legos. I would trade the world for that Lego set at this point. That would be so dope. So, yeah. That's what I wanted to talk about today.
Of course it's cool. It's awesome as shit.
And last but not least, I just gotta say that the internet has been full of chaos. And when I say chaos, I mean what I would consider as good chaos. Again, I live in America.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now.
And so my feeds have been full of people exercising their right to protest our country, coming through celebration of our 250th anniversary of our military, and starting off the wide realm of celebrations leading up to July 4th, which is America's birthday. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for using your rights properly, and thank you to everybody who is celebrating what is ultimately the greatest country in the world.
Down. This is America.
In my opinion. I happen to live here, so I might be biased. Last thing, remember, of all things, although our lives are always fluctuating up and down, and chaos is surrounding us wherever we go, there is beauty in knowing two things. One, you can always count on Hot Schmoes posting a video every Monday at 10 a.m. And two is to just always know and always remember that you don't have to worry. There is already a movie that is so bad it is the worst movie in the world, and you don't have to think of any other movie that will ever take its place, because that movie is Tombstone. It's the worst movie in the world. Never seen it, never will. Peace.
Delicious hot schmoes.
They're called s'mores, Buzz.
Right, of course.